Hello from Canada this Saturday, July 1st, here in southern Ontario. So who's buying Canadian savings bonds? Because we know that that's how Trudeau prints money. Well, the Bank of Canada buys those Canadian savings bonds because nobody in their right mind's going to buy them. Well, let's go back and look at what, and I'm just going to stick to Canada here, what Canadian savings bonds used to mean to the middle class. Remember, we used to have a middle class. We had a lower middle class, a middle class, and an upper middle class. We don't really have much of a middle class left anymore here in Canada. We have the impoverished, the increasingly impoverished, the desperately impoverished, homeless, living in tent cities. And we have an increasing number of filthy rich people. But to say the shrinking middle class, well, it's pretty well done, shrunk. But it used to be the middle class that would invest in Canadian savings bonds. It was a safe and secure investment. It paid more than the interest rate leaving your money in a savings account. Remember, banks used to pay you to keep your money instead of like now where they charge you to keep your money. Well, anyways, I googled quickly Canadian savings bonds. 3 to 5 year term pays 3.84%, 5 to 10 years 3.44%, and over 10 years 3.25%. Well, that's not even going to keep up to inflation, is it? Despite the fact Trudeau, the regime of in this monetary or budget, said the interest rate, inflation rate's 3.45% or something. Well, they have been known to be misinformative or disinformative. Disinformation before. Look at your household budget. Show me something that's only gone up 3.5%, let's say. So anyways, nobody's going to buy a Canadian savings bond. But I'm talking back in the days when governments had fiscal, financial responsibility. I mean, it was a death knell at the polls to be carrying a debt when election time came. Governments tried not to do that because the public was smart enough then to understand that interest is just squandered money. The old adage used to be you didn't borrow money except to make money. Buying a home, buying a house, buying property, perhaps starting up or expanding a business. You didn't borrow money to take a vacation. You didn't carry a couple of grand debt on your credit card constantly because interest is just squandered money. You're working to just throw it away. It doesn't do you any good. I mean, I'm a simple farm boy with a grade 9 education. I understand that. Apparently our government doesn't. So, again, who's buying Canadian savings bonds? Well, you and I aren't buying them. We're just paying the interest on the debt that's created by inflation as they print money and buy bonds. The bottom line is, the government won't tell us what our debt is. We have no idea. Tell me in the comments if you think you do, or if you do and could substantiate it, because it's been 3 or 4 years now since I've had any hope of calculating what our deficit is. At that point in time, I think 3 years ago, let's say, the government claimed it had risen to a whopping $1.2 trillion. And they haven't said it's gone up since then, despite the fact we know we've borrowed at least $1 trillion. Because again, they never told us completely. And we don't know how much money they've printed. So, it sure as the heck isn't what would be now called a lousy $1.2 trillion dollars. If I had to make a bet, I'd say it broaches 5 trillion easily. Whoa. It's a warm day here today in Brantford, Ontario. I'm just sitting here in the shade. And, well, I'm as hot as what the temperature is. But we know Trudeau isn't just irresponsible with money. Look what happened in Sri Lanka. It's a way for the WF through the IMF to buy the country. And you and I